Everybody, 3D politics, sweating our way out onto the broadcast airwaves, cablecast as it may be. Facebook Live with 3D politics. Tom McKay here, your pertinent host with all three Davids this time, the Davids that matter. David D'Ambroso, David Oldham, and David Van. We're pleased to have David D'Ambroso back with another kid added to his fine family. We appreciate him creating those natural average taxpayers to keep us all going. We're going to open up tonight about the letter from G.T. Bynum, the mayor of City of Tulsa, about Tulsa's first equity indicators report. And did you know, guys, that the mayor wants to calculate your health according to your zip code and your entire lifespan according to your zip code? Now, do you guys live in the same zip code that you were born in?
Absolutely not.
No. Anybody that
Not
you know?
in the same state.
I happen to know one gal that actually lives in the same house she was born in because she bought it from her parents. But over her lifespan, she didn't live in the same zip code. So the analysis that you can do according to lifespan, according to zip code, has zero correlation. One of the things that's most evil about this, in fact, here it is in the Scott Shepard explains a write-up he did. The average lifespan, I call it, of a zip code is about 9 years. People live in one zip code for 9 years before they move, and so that hardly covers an entire lifespan. But the real evil of this this concept here, the city of Tulsa launched the Tulsa Equity Indicators Project in 2017 with a partnership with the Community Service Council, that's CSC, under the guidance of the City University of New York's Institute State and Local Governance. So you wonder how it is that fascistic collectivism can find its way to Oklahoma. It's through the mayor's office.
I missed a cue here. I should have said, New York City!
Whoa!
Yeah, you gotta say Godwin's rule, right? We mentioned, I guess, is it mentioning Hitler when we mentioned fascism?
No.
Okay.
No, that would be Mussolini.
So this City University of New York's Institute for State and Local Governance is CUNY and ISLG, ISLG. But Tulsa was selected by this group to create a city-specific equity indicator tool. And also with four other cities, Dallas, Oakland, Pittsburgh, and St. Louis. Now the problem here is that they want to focus on disparities for the greatest number of people in Tulsa who they decided are African Americans, followed by residents in North Tulsa. So if you oppose this, what are you going to be called?
Oh boy. Wait,
Well, I would say if you're in favor of it.
There's one word that
you.
comes up more often than any other word in politics today, specifically used by one side of the political aisle. Is it that word or is it another one?
It starts with an R and it ends with acist. So our fabulous mayor not only wants to ensure equal opportunity, but also to make possible equitable outcomes.
Good.
For all Tulsans. Now, Mayor Bynum, was there an equitable outcome in the 2016 mayor's election? I don't think so. I don't think I'm co-mayor. I think you won that. You got that baton handed to you from your uncle. So how are we going to focus on outcomes versus opportunities? Well, the equity indicators focuses on outcomes rather than opportunities, based on a recognition that equal opportunities do not always lead to equal outcomes.
What do you know?
Isn't that amazing? And yet our mayor's going to shoot for it to make sure we can get everything. Now,
But Tom, everybody tries hard.
It's not
well,
even true.
I tried real hard and still lost the mayor's race without equal outcomes.
Tom,
There
you're
was
totally off base here.
Of course I am. I'm not racist.
I think you
school-
should have gotten 33 1/3%.
No, we all deserve a participation trophy.
There were
folks.
4.
Oh, okay, then 25%.
It's the way it works in school. Everyone is in the same classroom, and when it comes time for the test, everyone gets the same grade because
Well,
they're
yeah.
learning the same materials, right?
Now-
The same outcome.
Now, to finish up on this, we're trying to help out the downtrodden in Tulsa. For the
I
homeless,
think that we should look to the women from the women's soccer team that just won the World Cup for an example, because they're crying that they want to have equal pay as the men. But in 2017, the 15-year-old Dallas boys team beat them 5-2. So I think that they should get paid as the 15-year-old boys.
Female soccer players get a 13% cut of revenue made by women's soccer, whereas the men get a 9% cut as players.
Is that really? I did not know that.
The men make 9% players cut versus the women get 13% players cut. So the women get paid more to play a worse soccer.
And this is said this was called for by a multimillionaire.
Again, the philanthropic does not offer me any sort of representation at the election box, and our mayor is hung up on this philanthropic thing. He wants to get the people who have advanced in their ability to make it somehow give to the people who haven't made it and make it equal somehow. The philanthropic are the rich. All right.
Well, if it was truly philanthropy, as we were talking earlier, it's not philanthropy when he is taking from us, from our property, and extorting it to give to others.
Right. We're getting a little bit off the beaten path here to finalize for today the concept of the equity indicators. Just a little post for the homeless and the hungry in Tulsa. What's the name of the entity that takes care to serve the homeless?
Well, there's a few. John 3:16 is big.
Right.
Was it Iron Gate's another one? The Day Center.
The Day Center for the homeless.
Salvation Army.
Have you ever
Bob
heard
Jack.
Have you ever heard of a way home for Tulsa?
Yes.
Yeah.
And a better way. Both of these are promoted by the Community Service Council. You ever heard of them?
Probably.
Community Service Council?
I have heard of that.
Okay.
Heard of them, yeah.
Again, these are both organizations that are heavy into the Tulsa area, according to the mayor, and yet the first names that come to mind about helping the homeless in Tulsa, John 3:16, the food bank, the Tulsa's for the homeless, etc. So
Federal government, the state government.
understand
Well, the
that
CSC is, I think, uses federal or government funds to exist.
it's all
You
a
can't really
Texas.
help someone without everyone's money. You can't do it on your own. If everyone doesn't pitch in, you're just helpless.
David,
Yeah, my question here is, what is Mayor Bynum getting at? My concern in this was just another way for him to emphasize guilt and shame, that if you do better for yourself and your family should feel ashamed. That, by breaking us down by zip
thereby
codes.
be
us down by
shamed
zip code.
into accepting his coming taxation.
the idea that to break health down according to zip codes flies in the face of all the marketing that they do, zip code marketing, where we know what your income is.
Yeah.
This is nothing but a Marxist-style, fascistic slant on class envy. We're just going to break you according to gender, race, and zip code.
So why don't we get a scale out and weigh everybody, like D'Ambrosio was pointing out last week? Whoever's the heaviest, the most obese, is the most affluent, and we should punish them.
Clearly. On the world scale, right?
This is just ridiculousness. It's none of their business.
If a communist wanted to find an enemy that you could always fight, searching for equal outcomes would be that forever
Well, it's
back.
interesting, and it goes back to this word. It's almost as popular as racist. It's fascist, which is just a proxy for racist in many cases.
Sure.
And I was talking to a friend of mine over this weekend, and he didn't realize that every Republican presidential candidate has been called a fascist since Goldwater. And what's interesting about Goldwater, just 20 years after World War II, the man was Jewish and had family that died in the Holocaust. So McCain was called a fascist, and of course he's a hero when he disagrees. He was called a fascist when he ran against Barack Obama, but when he doesn't like Donald Trump, he's a hero. So we know the saying is true, as it's been stated on the internet many times. How do you identify a racist? A racist is someone that disagrees with the Democrat. How do you identify a fascist? A fascist is someone that disagrees with the Democrat or is winning an argument with the Democrat.
Right.
Well,
and a socialist is a good guy.
Listen, if you're concerned about Hispanics having to live in filth, you're compassionate. If you're concerned about blacks living in filth, you're a racist.
It's true.
Okay?
It's whatever's politically expedient, and you wonder why we look at it logically. How does the left get to play both sides of these issues, right? They say that Trump is some dictator that runs everything, and then they laugh at him whenever his legislative suggestions don't get passed.
Big media.
No, it can't be both,
Yeah,
right?
but big
they
media,
literally play
they-
whatever is politically expedient
So,
at the moment.
to that point, in the same report from the mayor of Tulsa, it
Yeah.
says Tulsans are fair, compassionate, and generous people who believe in equal opportunity for all. Okay, but then later in the report it says Tulsa has a history of racial inequality, perhaps most notably in 1921 in the Tulsa Race Riot, which also, by the way, they have officially changed the name from Tulsa Race Riot to Tulsa Race Massacre. Okay, how come you haven't updated your words here on your famous
It's
website?
where billions and billions of blacks were killed in the core of Tulsa.
Okay, the Tulsa Race Riot destroyed what was the wealthiest black community in the country. However, 5 years earlier, in 1916, a city ordinance was designed to ensure racial segregation, again trying to paint Tulsa as a racist city. Immediately following the race riot, city leaders passed more zoning regulations mandating the races remained segregated. This is Tulsa's demographic legacy. Wow, they left out the busing. They kind of left out the busing.
Well, they left out even during the race riot that blacks in America had a higher standard of living than anywhere in Africa.
Yeah.
And a lower mortality rate. Fewer blacks died in the race riot than died in a given day.
By
most
the
African
same
nations.
token, let's acknowledge that there was serious racism going on.
I'm not talking about
during that
racism.
time.
I'm talking about
they
this
flew
guy
over
that
and
says-
dropped bombs on the black homes.
Everything that's bad is bad. That's true. But to have an official document from the mayor's office that's so totally contradictory. I thought you just said Tulsans are fair, compassionate, and generous people. But Tulsa is also historically racial.
Well, it's like when this
So what
progressive-
is
Is or
it?
was.
Make up
That's
your mind.
important.
Well,
He said is. And
He says has a history.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. But again, the whole concept, when you go searching for something, you're likely to find it. So the whole study of the EI, Tulsa's this electronic surveillance thing, this is all having to do. It's all about organizing a control of behavior patterns and getting a hold of you.
Well, what's interesting
Right.
is this never ends. And so the progressivism we see today is the same as the progressivism of 120 years ago. So it was a progressive policy to segregate the city and to zone the city. And so progressivism is now approaching another progressive ideal to solve the problem that progressivism either created or exacerbated. By creating this racism, they now create another racist solution with the attempted goal of anti-racism, but the same outcome of racism.
Right.
It's like LBJ's Great Society, right? They created the 21st century plantation where they disincentivized a black nuclear family and they created generations of poverty. Well, you could say their heart was in the right place, whatever that is, you know.
You mean well.
But the right, that's
I don't know
that
why
path
you
to hell.
said
It
that.
paid for
Here's-
something.
And here's the thing: is blacks should be remembering the Tuskegee experiment, and where they let blacks die of untreated syphilis as an experiment to
Was
see
that
what would
FDR?
happen.
Just to see.
Yes.
That was FDR. Goodness, but I thought he was a champion of righteousness and progressivism.
Well, it
wait.
well,
Aren't
this
there concentration
this was
camps
a-
south of the border?
But this was a 50-year experience. It started in 32 under FDR, but it went all the way through Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
It didn't end until Richard Nixon.
And that evil man started the
But they
EIA.
stopped short of the
So-
lifespan, though, right?
Well, I mean,
I'm so excited I took my hat
But
off.
yet, D'Ambrosa, to your point, yes, if you're Japanese, you are rounded up for the
The
duration
internment
of the war.
camp, that's where I was going.
internments, yeah.
Conservatives have never had internment camps.
Right.
But liberals have. Your liberal hero FDR literally rounded people up
This
by
is-
race
Oh, yeah.
and
This
put
is
them
the
in
problem
camps.
with the progressive mentality, which the libertarians have embraced. It's all humanistic ethics. So on one series of decades, the humanistic ethics will be this way, and now they're going to shift back the other way. So
Well,
there's no,
I don't love the libertarians. Some of the libertarians, yes, but libertarians in general do not embrace the progressive.
Not all libertarians sell heroin to 5-year-olds, just some of them.
The libertarians I know suggest that they're going to take out restraining orders on people. You won't let it go.
The fiction of the non-aggression principle. I can't wait till Rex comes on here, or Brett McQuaig or something. I can't wait to debate someone on the non-aggression principle or objective property rights. They lose every time. It makes no sense. The leftists identify 1 bajillion things as aggression.
Yeah.
So who in the world objectively defines aggression?
Well, that's the problem.
You're being aggressive.
I think that's objectively true.
I think it's a little pent up.
All right, let's move
It's a
on.
bit too long.